Do you own a pair of bi-wireable loudspeakers? They have two sets of speaker terminals, one labeled HF for high frequency and one labeled LF for low frequency. These speakers accept one pair of speaker wires if the OEM jumper straps are left in place. Two pairs of speaker wires can be used once the jumper straps have been removed. There is no consensus by audiophiles or speaker manufacturers on the merits of bi-wiring. That's why some speakers have one set of terminals while others have two. I own a pair of Klipsch Heresy loudspeakers. Although it is bi-wireable, I've been using a single pair of speaker wires for several years. I decided to try bi-wiring and made a pair of speaker cables using Canare 4S11G bulk cable, with the wire ends terminated with inexpensive but good banana plugs from Amazon. Making speaker cables is one of the easiest projects for audio enthusiasts, especially if no soldering is required. When I removed the OEM jumper straps, I was gobsmacked. They were bronze in color and seemed to have a clear coating on them. I was curious as to their electrical resistance. I've labeled them so that I can keep track of the resistance measurements for each one. I'm just going to lightly tap the voltmeter probes onto the surface here. For number 2, (8 ohms, 35 ohms. Number 3, 62, 25, 168, 10 ohms. Number 4, down to about 2.9 ohms. So clearly not zero resistance. That means if you plug a speaker wire into a high frequency terminal, the music signal traveling through the jumper strap to the low frequency driver would be attenuated. If you plug a speaker wire into the low frequency terminal of the loudspeaker, the high frequency driver would receive an attenuated signal. This could affect tonal balance, not to mention other effects such as diminished detail, imaging, and dynamics. Why on earth would a loudspeaker maker sabotage the performance of their own loudspeakers by using jumper straps that add resistance? If the jumper straps of your loudspeakers are covered with a clear coat, scrape off the area where the speaker binding posts come into contact with the straps so that there is zero resistance and maximum electrical conductivity. I'm going to take a utility knife and scrape off some of this clear coating and see if it makes a difference to the resistance of these straps. So hopefully the resistance will be zero. So 0 or 0.1 ohms. What I should be doing for the rest of these jumper straps is to scrape off the clear coating. An alternative to using these jumper straps from the speaker manufacturer is to use some bare wire from 14-2 electrical cable. I've made 4 of these, and let's see what the resistance of these cable straps are. 0.2, 0.1, close enough to 0. 0.6, 0.2, 0.2. To make sure I have the best conductivity, I'm just going to use some sandpaper to take off any clear coat that might be on these wires. Makes a difference. You can consider making yourself a couple of pairs of speaker jumper cables. A 12-inch length of truss cable is recommended for use with totem loudspeakers. These cost approximately $10 a linear foot. It's made of linearized oxygen-free copper with silver coating on the individual strands. Banana plugs at one end and spade connectors at the other end, and this would allow me to easily remove the jumper cables in the event that I want to use bi-wire, or stick them across the two speaker terminals if I'm using a single pair. This wire is actually 13 inches, so that means I'm going to have about 6.5 inches of wire. In case I forget that the black wire is for the negative terminal and the white wire is for the positive terminal, I'm going to use some red shrink wrap to add to both ends of the white wires. I'm using some contact cleaner and a Q-tip to clean the insides of all of the connectors. I'm going to use my wire stripper at the 14 gauge setting to strip the ends of the wire. The oxide sealer on all the exposed wire ends. Loctite thread locker on all of the screw heads. Before I get too excited over the potential improved sonic performance I can get with these speaker jumper wires, I should be measuring the resistance just to make sure that they are 0 or close to 0. And they are all 0.0. It took me 2 years before I discovered my loudspeakers weren't functioning at their best. I could be biased with the expectation that my new wires will result in improved sound, but to my ears, the heresies have never sounded better. I'm going to continue using my DIY speaker jumper wires. Happy listening.